Free energy clue: the mysterious JS transformer effect. This wasn't supposed to happen. The output starts at 131.2 volts DC. Then, as the motor and capacitor are connected in parallel, it instantly jumps to 183.2 volts, a 52-volt increase. That's nearly 10 volts more than my previous result. Let's find out why. Free energy is something many people hope for. My device may not be free energy or over unity yet, but this unusual voltage rise effect could be a clue. That's why I'm doing these experiments. This capacitor is now being charged to 100 volts. A large capacitor like this stores the input voltage almost perfectly when the waveform is fully smoothed. In the next step, I'll connect it to the JS transformer to see whether this stored voltage also rises. I set the power 100 volts and 1 ampere. The reason I'm showing this test is to demonstrate that when the DC waveform becomes clean and complete, the capacitor's charging voltage matches the input voltage. The capacitor is now fully charged to 100 volts. When I connect the light bulb, you can see it discharging, and we can watch how long the stored energy lasts. This capacitor is pretty good. This is the JS transformer. Its coil structure doesn't behave like a normal transformer, and that's why the voltage rises under load. Here's the JS transformer structure. 1 output coil and 2 excitation coils wound opposite to each other. That's the key to the voltage rise effect. This setup splits AC into 2 independent channels, one for each half of the waveform, and each channel is sent to its own excitation coil. Here I'm checking the capacitor alone, measuring how it charges and how much voltage it can hold using JS transformer. Now I'm setting the input to 100 volts to make the capacitor test easier to read. Power on. The input is exactly 100 volts, as measured on the meter. So the theoretical peak after rectification should be about 141 volts. But this transformer reaches 149, roughly 8 volts higher because of its unique characteristics. And to demonstrate that behavior again, here's the big motor test for new viewers. 50 volts, 100 volts, and finally the maximum, 131 volts. This is the second 100-volt test, and again the voltage climbs plus 31 volts under load. This is the 131-volt test, and again the voltage rises plus 41 volts on load. Previously, this test showed a 42.6 volt rise. Today, it's slightly lower because household voltage varies depending on the time of day. And once again, the outcome matches the previous tests. The effect repeats reliably. Now I'm testing a universal motor. Because it has no internal magnets and runs identically on AC or DC, this type doesn't produce a voltage rise. It actually drops in voltage under load, and that's what this additional test demonstrates. As you can see, when I run this universal motor, the voltage drops. And that's exactly why this transformer is special. Only certain loads create a rise. Now I'm starting the capacitor and motor test first at 50 volts. Here's the 100-volt stage, the second part of the capacitor and motor test. This is the maximum input, 131 volts, the final test in the sequence. Before wrapping up, I checked the oscilloscope. The top waveform is the AC input, and the lower one is the rectified DC with ripple because the two excitation coils are not identical. The second coil is longer since it's wound over the first coil, so its power is slightly lower. You can see the waveform collapsing here. That's the motor load affecting the signal. And here is the waveform at maximum output. You can see how the DC ripple and the excitation behavior look when the system is pushed to its highest operating point. Here's the inductive rise effect when the motor and capacitor are connected in parallel. The voltage jumps by 52 volts, even higher than the previous 42.6. In summary, the inductive rise effect is confirmed again with an even larger increase than previous tests. However, the system's output power does not surpass the input, so over-unity cannot be claimed. There are still unknowns: motor efficiency, coil ratios, and accurate power measurement under reactive load. These factors need refinement, and that's the direction of future experiments. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Stay curious. See you in the next video.